What's up, Earthship Bear? Oh man, let me see. What's up? Hope everyone's doing well. Damn, rushing out today to do this. I forgot my live streaming phone, the phone I used to live stream. So I'm having to use my iPhone. So, which kind of sucks because I usually like showing people the GIFs, you know, like the little GIFs on my phone in slow motion. So I'm not gonna be able to do that because I don't have another phone. I'm using my main phone right now to live stream. So that kind of sucks. Also, the live chat's not gonna be there in the screen. Since I'm going directly live from YouTube, I usually use an app for that. And to be honest, I just didn't want to download the app and set all that up. So I just figured I'd just go straight live from YouTube on the phone. So I don't know why the chat is kind of disappearing after like somebody leaves a message. It just disappears. So hopefully that's not an issue. Oh, it actually comes back when I tap the screen. Okay, good to know. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Luckily, I have all the slides that I'll be using, the questions that I'll be using, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Damn, man, I feel all bummed that I forgot the phone, man. Fuck. Kind of sucks. Damn it. Yeah, because there's nothing more than actually seeing, you know, the demonstrations in slow motion, you know, to see that there's no reaction in free fall. I was gonna show like the flame one, for example, you know. I made GIFs out of that as well. So I won't be able to do that anymore, or at least for this time. Like, damn, I can't believe I forgot my phone. Fuck. Yeah, I forgot to put it in my backpack, and I just left because it was getting kind of late too, so I didn't want it to get too late. So, damn, that's what I get. It's cool, it's cool, it's cool. Yeah, hopefully it still goes good. I mean, hopefully we get a conversation, huh? Terry Hayes, what's up? Bates Truther, what's up? Off topic, what are your thoughts on the Mexican protests in LA and the deportations? I'm Mexican too, by the way. I mean, to be honest, it's not the first time that they push this, like, you know, as a thing. They're deporting people and all this stuff. Like, it's not the first time, you know. It's like they do this every 4 to 5 years or so. Every 5 years, they always highlight that there's gonna be mass deportation going on. They're gonna be going through people's employment, people's jobs, and deporting people. But again, it's just like to keep people in fear. You know, they do deport criminals. Obviously, if you're a criminal, it doesn't matter if you're from South America or Mexico. You know, if you're a criminal, they usually do deport you. So I think most of the deportations that are happening are people that have a record. You know, people obviously that are criminals that are wanted, or, you know, for whatever reason. But as far as deporting, like just working citizens, you know, I think it's mostly propaganda. Now, I'm not gonna say that it's not happening because it probably does happen. I don't know, but I think it's mostly just propaganda. You know, just again to keep people in fear, and keep people in line. In other words, you know. This is just my thoughts. Again, can't prove any of that. Oh yeah, you did make some shorts, Nat. I know. The only thing is that, again, I don't have my phone to show people, but I guess I can ask people to pull up their phones, you know, if they want to see them. But we'll see. Maybe I'll do that. Hopefully, what I have here should be enough. The only thing is that acceleration down versus free fall, it's kind of hard to demonstrate it in real time because it happens instantly, like the displacement, for example. So kind of people kind of have to take my word for it. But I mean, it's the facts. They could go to my channel and look at the demonstration. So it is what it is. Yeah, next time I'll make sure that not to forget it, you know. Because I think obviously watching the demonstrations in slow motion, especially with the free fall demonstrations and showing that there is no displacement, should be enough, you know. I mean, luckily that, like the water displacement, you know, that's, you know, you can see the water reacting to it, and in free fall, there's no reaction. So you can actually see that in real time. So hopefully that's enough for people to grasp it, you know, to get it. At the end of the day, I'm gonna explain it anyway. So, and again, just because I don't have the demonstrations on hand, it doesn't change reality, right? Reality still, you know, is what it is, and the effects of acceleration are always gonna be there when there's actual acceleration. So, fact is, in free fall there is no acceleration, and that's one of the reasons why gravity is just a theory, you know, because they acknowledge that fact that there is no effects of acceleration or a force or an external force accelerating a container in free fall or an object in free fall, for example. But again, that's one of the reasons why gravity is just a theory. It's just an idea, you know, and that idea is it comes from the visual interpretation that an object appears to go down, you know, in free fall. But the reality is, again, if everything's in motion together, you know, if everything's being pushed by the earth, and we're inside of it, then everything's gonna look like it's motionless relative to us, because we're also moving with the earth. So we're not gonna see the earth's motion because we're moving with it. You know, when people say that, oh, I don't see the earth moving, or the, you know, it looks like it's motionless. Well, yeah, relative to you, because you're also moving with it, you know, it looks motionless. For example, if you're in a car and it's moving 60 miles an hour down the highway, right? And then you blacked out all the windows and you put a camera inside, everything's gonna look like it's motionless, you know, in the car, you know what I'm saying? Like, relative to the camera or the person inside of it. So it's no different with the earth. You know, we're all moving with the earth, so relative to us, it looks motionless. But you have to be a reality denier to deny the fact that when you're on earth, there's a force present. You know, force is motion. So there's a motion vector when we're connected to the earth. That's the reason why a plumb line, you know, when you hang a string with a weight, there's a reason why we have plumb, you know. That shows that there is a vector, a vertical vector, you know, a motion vector, in other words. So again, just because everything looks motionless to you, you know, that doesn't mean that it is. And again, that's where accelerometers come into play, whether simple accelerometers or digital accelerometers. They all detect that there is a force. Not only that, they detect the vertical force, but they also detect that the force is up, not down. You know, provably so. Anybody can prove it to themselves. That the force, the vertical force we experience here on Earth, it's an upwards force, not a downwards force. Now the globe Earth tries, you know, they acknowledge that upwards push, you know, because obviously we have buoyancy. You know, buoyancy follows the direction of the force. So the globe Earth acknowledges that fact, but they claim that there's two forces now. They claim that there's a downwards force of gravity and then an upwards force of the Earth, which again, they don't get into detail of how that's produced, how the Earth produces an upwards force. that goes against the downward force of gravity, you know. But again, they have to acknowledge that because the fact shows that buoyancy, you know, is an effect of a force, and buoyancy follows the direction of the force. So the fact that when you're holding a helium balloon and you release it and it starts to move up, you know, that shows you that not only that there is a vertical force, but it shows you the direction of that vertical force is actually up. Because we all understand that inanimate matter cannot move on its own. So everybody knows that a helium balloon rises because it's less dense than the air. You know, everybody says that, you know, but what about the air being more dense, you know, than the helium that makes the helium balloon go up? Well, the obvious answer is that, well, it's because it's pushing it up. The helium balloon is being pushed up, you know, push being a force, you know, but again, it's a chain reaction of a force. Buoyancy doesn't create itself. Buoyancy, you know, the effect of buoyancy doesn't create, you know, doesn't happen by itself. It requires an external force, an external push. And buoyancy is literally just a chain reaction of that force, of the push. So if the helium balloon is being pushed up by the air, again, the air is no different than the helium, is inanimate. It doesn't move on its own. Again, the air also requires an external force, an external push to not only compress itself, but also be able to push the helium balloon up. So again, if we understand buoyancy is a chain reaction of a push, then the helium balloon is being pushed up by the air because it's more dense, and the air is being pushed up by the earth. It's literally that simple. How we can verify that as well is by the fact that if you put a slinky tied to a helium balloon, you know, the helium balloon is going to stretch the slinky because there's an upwards push on the helium balloon by the air that's stretching the slinky. However, if you put that into a container, for example, like a box, and then you release that box into free fall, again, when that box is connected to the earth, it's being pushed up by the earth when it's connected to the earth. So that pressure gradient, the air having a pressure gradient, it's there. So it's able to push up the helium balloon, again, because there's an external force there. As soon as you release that box into free fall and it's no longer being pushed up by the earth, that buoyant effect vanishes. So the slinky is able to overcome the helium balloon in that sense when it's in free fall, because the helium balloon is not experiencing buoyancy anymore. And that's because the air inside of the container is not being pressurized anymore. It's not being compressed, you know? Because again, air, all matter, not just air, all matter has inertia. So it wants to resist motion, it wants to resist the force. So when you have a force pushing on the air, for example, because air has inertia, it wants to resist that, so that's what gives you the compression of air, you know? So that's why the air is compressed. And that's why we have 14.7 psi here on Earth level, and then it gets less and less and less the higher you elevate, because there's a compression of air. And again, you need two factors. You know, you have a force from underneath, and then you have inertia. You know, what gives matter inertia. So the resistance to that force, and again, that's why you get the compression of air. And that compression of air, that motion, that force is able to push the helium balloon up as well. Again, it's all these effects that we experience on Earth, even including our weight. Again, our weight, it requires two factors. Again, you require a force and you require a resistance to that force. So the same reason to why air has pressure because of inertia, that's the same reason why everything here on Earth has weight. Because of inertia. Again, it's resisting the force. Matter wants to remain motionless due to inertia. Again, not because matter wants to remain motionless by itself. And it's, you know, no, it's an external cause to that. You know, we could say it's a background medium, you know, an electrostatic field, right? And some kind of static field, you know? And that static field, you know, affects all matter equally, you know? In other words, the resistance to motion is proportional to an object's mass. So more mass an object has, the more resistance it's going to have. The less mass an object has, the less resistance it's going to have. And that's why everything decelerates at the same rate due to inertia. Because again, matter doesn't decelerate on its own. It requires the external cause. In this case, it's some kind of background medium that's like a static field, and the Earth moves through it. You know, so as the Earth is moving through it, everything that's inside of the Earth is also moving through that field, and that field it's like trying to slow everything down. It's like when you swing your hand in the air or in water, you know, the water doesn't have to be moving, it just has to be there. But you moving through it, you get that resistance. You know, the water is going to resist that motion. Obviously water is a more dense medium than air, so you're going to have more resistance, in my opinion. So the background medium, has even less resistance than the air. That's a fact. So when you add air resistance on top of inertia, the effects of inertia, or the cause of inertia, you're gonna get a faster deceleration rate. You're gonna get more resistance when you put air into the equation. But even if you have a vacuum and you remove all of the air, or most of the air, because obviously there's no such thing as a perfect vacuum, you remove most of the air, guess what? You're still gonna have a resistance to motion. There's still gonna be a resistance there. Because again, matter has inertia. It's affected by a background medium that slows it down. Again, matter, in this reality, matter doesn't move forever. There's friction, there's a lot of different aspects to why matter decelerates, and inertia is one of them. It affects all matter. So again, for that same reason is the reason why we have weight. If there was no background medium, then everything would just be moving together, without any resistance, so you won't be able to register weight, when you're standing on Earth. If nothing's trying to slow you down from the upwards push of the Earth, then you wouldn't have weight. And that includes acceleration as well. The reason why there's a resistance to acceleration is for the same reason there's a resistance to a constant motion, because there's a background medium trying to slow matter down. Doesn't matter how fast or how much you accelerate, that medium is always going to affect the motion. It's always going to try to make matter static. This static field always wants to keep matter static. That's just a fact, So yeah, people that deny that there is a resistance to constant motion, but then claim that there's a resistance only when there's acceleration, they're literally not thinking. They're either dumb or they're lying. They're doing it deliberately. They're just trying to muddy the waters. Again, that's globe Earth rhetoric at the end of the day. The globe Earth claims that a force is only acceleration, because obviously the resistance to motion can be measured through acceleration, but the fact is that a force is also constant. Why? Because nothing just moves forever without a force. So if you want something to move at a constant, like a car, for example, anything that has motion, and if you want it to remain at a constant and not lose momentum, you require a force. You require something to keep it at that constant. Why? Because there's a resistance to motion, even a constant velocity. If there wasn't a resistance to constant velocity, then something moving at a constant will just move forever. It will never lose momentum. But the fact is, in this reality, everything loses momentum if there's no force present. Again, if you want to keep something moving at a constant, you require a force. That being something external, that's already in motion, to push something else that's in motion. So again, the Earth is already in motion. When we were born, the Earth was already in motion. Before you were born, right? So that's why we always have these effects. And there's always a resistance to motion. The fact that there's always a resistance to motion, you're always going to have deceleration and free fall. It's that simple. Because the air, if something's more dense than the air, it's not going to be able to keep pushing it up like the solid ground. So it's going to start to lose momentum. And the air is going to move through it, or past it, in other words, trying to push it up. But again, because it's not dense enough to push it, the object in free fall is going to start to lose momentum. So again, it's very simple. It's very easy. The fact that there's pushback on this just shows how brainwashed people are, in my opinion, because it's very easy to understand. Very, very, very easy. A child can understand it. A 10-year-old can fully grasp these effects and understand that it's the Earth that's pushing up. Again, helium, buoyancy, showing you that direction of the force 100% of the time. An air bubble rising through water, again, that's a buoyant effect. That's only present when connected to the Earth, when it's experiencing that upwards push of the Earth. Then you see the air bubble rising through the medium. As soon as you put that vessel with the air bubble rising in water into free fall, in other words, it's not feeling that upwards push of the Earth anymore. Guess what? That air bubble, that chain reaction of motion is not there anymore. That air bubble stops rising through the medium. because it requires that external push. Again, not only that, water, in order for water to have pressure, again, you require an external force. And obviously water has inertia as well. So again, just like the air, the resistance to that force is what gives you, that's how you get pressurized water. And because of that same effect, again, the water being pushed, is able to push something that's less dense, like an air bubble, in the direction of the force. So again, it's very, very, very easy. It's elementary level. It's just elementary physics. It's you know what I'm saying? It couldn't be more simpler than that. I'm not even talking about the physics of how a computer works, or the physics of of other stuff, that could be more complicated. This is very elemental, fundamental. These are the basic principles that you build on, and that's how you have, that's how people were able to invent and advance technology, is by understanding basic principles and building on those. So these are those basic principles. So all of the only thing the globe Earth did is, they're calling the resistance to motion, the static field. They're claiming that field it's moving now. So instead of the Earth moving through the static field, they just invert it. Now they're saying that it's the field moving through the Earth to the center of the Earth. So they're hijacking the fact that there is a cause to why matter has inertia, or the resistance to motion, or why matter slows down. They're just hijacking that and claiming that, that's what's making matter accelerate on a motionless Earth. The Earth is not moving up through a medium; it's the medium moving down towards the Earth. But again, if that was the case, not only will digital accelerometers, but any analog accelerometer would detect that motion as well. We would detect that acceleration. Again, they have to invoke Harry Potter physics and claim that, it's accelerating down, but without any effects of acceleration. So in any other vector, when you actually apply a force to accelerate something, a container with different states of matter, you're always gonna have displacement of matter relative to the direction of the force. Always. The more dense is gonna go towards the back of acceleration, and the less dense is gonna go towards the front. 100% of the time, again. Just like this water bottle. The more dense goes towards the back, and the less dense goes towards the front, depending on what direction you accelerate. Even when you accelerate down, again, you could have different states of matter. You see, I have this other accelerometer. Again, you accelerate in this direction, the ball swings in the opposite direction because it's more dense than the medium. So again, the fact that they're claiming, there's acceleration in free fall, but without any of those effects, that's pseudoscience. That kind of acceleration cannot be replicated or recreated in any other vector with an actual force. Because again, we understand matter cannot move by itself. Inanimate matter cannot move by itself. It requires an external force, an external cause, something external that's already in motion to make matter move. Especially if you're claiming acceleration, So that's what the globe Earth claims. They claim acceleration in free fall, but without any effects of that acceleration. So again, that's why gravity is just a theory. And again, the fact is that matter is decelerating due to the static field, due to the background medium. It's decelerating all at the same rate, and that's why there's no displacement. It's that simple. Now people say, but if you decelerate in a car, when you apply the brakes, you get displacement. Yes, because you're applying a force now. You're decelerating using a force. Again, if you decelerate using a force, yes, you're gonna get displacement. Why? Because force causes displacement, whether you accelerate or decelerate. If you're applying a force, you're gonna get displacement. Again, whether you accelerate or decelerate. Guess what? In free fall, there is no force because the static field is not moving. The background medium is not moving, so that's not a force. You're just simply moving through it. So moving through this background medium and then putting it into free fall, that deceleration is not due to a force. If you could say it's due to friction, if anything, like the friction of, what makes matter decelerate due to inertia, sure. You could call it a fictitious force, because it does affect matter, but again, it's not a real force, because a real force, not only does it cause displacement, but it has to be in motion. Whatever's causing matter to move, whether you accelerate a container, you have to be moving first to be able to move the container. And then the motion of the container, again, it's what causes the displacement, of matter. That is what gives you the effects of acceleration. Ask Crow, what is a non-real force? Like, what is a non-real force? You're double speaking there. You're saying what is a non-real force? It doesn't make any sense. I can give you a real force and a not real force. I thought forces were forces. Yeah, forces is something that's in motion. If there's a background medium that's static and we move through that background medium, that background medium doesn't have to be moving to decelerate an object. So therefore, you don't need a force to decelerate matter. Now, the globe Earth claims that this background medium is moving. Again, they're claiming a force, but at the same time, they claim it's not a force. The bending and warping of space-time, it's not a force, but it acts like a force. So now we're going into pseudo-science. We're going into Narnia physics, Harry Potter physics, physics that cannot be recreated or demonstrated in any other vector. That kind of force, that's a force that acts like a force, but it's not a force because there's no displacement of matter. That kind of force doesn't exist. And that's why gravity as a pulling force is just an idea. It's not real. It's just the theory. And it's not even a scientific theory, because a scientific theory, in my opinion, will be something that's grounded on basic principles, So the fact that gravity claims that gravity is a scientific theory, even that's a lie. It's not even a scientific theory. It's just a theory based on nothing. The funny thing is that theory goes against practical physics. So it's like me claiming, I have a theory that if you run fast enough, if you run 40 miles an hour, and then, because nobody can run 40 miles an hour, right? I think the fastest runners were like maybe close to 30 miles an hour. So I have a theory, right? That if you run faster than 35 miles an hour, and then you jump, you're able to fly. That's not a scientific theory. That's just a theory based on nothing practical, because the practical will show you that that's impossible. It doesn't matter how fast you run and then jump. You're not going to fly. But, me calling it a scientific theory doesn't change that. It's not a scientific theory. It's literally that simple. That theory will go against practical reality. Or, for example, if you run 40 miles an hour, fast enough, then you're able to walk through walls. But you have to reach 40 miles an hour, kind of like, it reminds me of the movie Back to the Future, right? You have to be going, 67 or 68 miles an hour, and then you're able to hit the portal to time travel, right? That's all pseudoscience. That's all Harry Potter physics. It's not real. It's 88 miles an hour. But yeah, if you run 40 miles an hour, and you're able to walk through walls, but you have to hit 40 miles an hour though. If you hit 39 miles an hour, you're gonna slam into the wall. And if you go 41 miles an hour, you're gonna slam into the wall. You gotta be at perfect 40 miles an hour. See, I could say that's a scientific theory, but it's not. Why? Because matter can't go through matter. It doesn't matter how fast you're running, or it's retarded. That's no different than the claim of gravity having acceleration without any effects of acceleration. That goes directly against practical physics. So again, the fact that they call it a scientific theory, it's just nonsense. It's mockery. They're mocking our reality. They're just straight up lying. And again, people that believe that, then you might as well believe that if a scientist comes out and claims that, if you run 40 miles an hour, or let's just be more realistic, 30 miles an hour. Because obviously 40 miles for someone to run that fast is pretty crazy. So if you run 30 miles an hour through a solid wall, you'll be able to go through it. People might as well believe that. If they believe in gravity accelerating in free fall, And again, this goes to the motionless flat earthers as well. It's no different. Ask her how fast are we moving up? It's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. We don't know We don't need to know the speed of the force to know that there's a force present. I'll give you an example. If I was to blindfold you and I smack you across the face, do you need to know the speed of the force of my hand slapping your face to know that you were slapped in the face? No, you would know that you were slapped in the face because you will feel the effects of that force slapping your face. You're not gonna be like, oh, how fast was that force slapping my face? If you can't tell me how fast, then yeah, I wasn't slapped in the face. If you can't tell me how fast you slapped me, then I didn't get slapped in the face. You'll still feel it, even if it's going at 1 mile an hour. Something comes across your face and touches you at 1 mile an hour, you're gonna feel that. Point being is, if I went, slapped you across the face, you don't need to know how fast I slapped you to know that you were slapped. And to deny that you were slapped because you don't know the speed that you were slapped is no different than denying the force of the earth. Buoyancy shows you that there is a force. We don't need to know the speed of the earth. It's showing you when you release a helium balloon that it's being pushed up, and that upwards push vanishes in free fall. Like a helium balloon will not be pushed up in a container that's not connected to the earth. If you have a container and you have a helium balloon, it's always going to get pushed up if it's connected to the earth. Always wants to go to the top because the air is pushing it, right? Always. Guess what? If you hold that helium balloon in the bottom of the box and you release it into free fall, that helium balloon's not going to get pushed up anymore. Not until it makes contact with the earth again. Now, people are going to say, again, this is where the pseudo-science comes in of the globe earth and stationary flat earth. Oh, it's because the helium balloon, the air in the box is all being accelerated down at the same rate by this magical force. Again, that force cannot be recreated or demonstrated. It's pseudo-science. It goes directly against all practical physics. So again, people that want to believe that, that's fine. You could believe whatever you want. But when you start making positive claims, of acceleration without effects of acceleration, without any practical demonstrations, then that's when I have a problem. That's when I'm going to call it out. Because again, if you can admit that you just have a belief that's based on nothing, that is it's just you wanting to believe that, then that's fine. That's great. Believe that. It's when people start putting these claims into objective reality. That's when I have a problem. So yeah, let me see the chat. I know I missed a lot of comments. I guess I'll scroll back a little bit. Goddamn, it's a lot of people. Okay, I'm gonna say what's up to most of the people that I see. Rom, Andrew, Pied Piper, Iwan, Martin, what's up? Renewed Awareness, what's up? Even you, Askro. Cal 40. TNT, what's up? Conscious Machine. V Thomas. I already got Iwan. Alright, I think I got most people. Let me see if there's any questions. Any relevant question. Ask Crow, that's Hollywood. Yeah, the Back to the Future thing is Hollywood. Just like gravity pulling objects toward the ground, that's also Hollywood. That's why you only see astronauts lying about it, lying that they're seeing a globe Earth from space. Because all of that's a Hollywood production. NASA is Hollywood. So just like no different than Back to the Future. The only difference is that NASA claims that they're real. But again, it's just Hollywood. Hollywood trickery, green screens, blue screens, a lot of different editing of different videos, chopped up together. A lot of editing, in other words. They don't have any raw footage of the globe Earth because it doesn't exist. And they even admit it. So physics says that the plane should not have gone through the World Trade Center. I don't think it should have. I understand concrete and steel. I mean, the fact that they didn't even find any parts of the plane in the rubble, should just, also, But again, at the end of the day, that's a historical event that happened. We can't, again, it's not like fucking Back to the Future. We can't go to the past and verify to see if there was actually an airplane that hit the building, So talking about stuff like that, stuff that has to do with history, that relies on history, fuck me. All of that to me is just a waste of time. It just muddies the waters. You know, especially if you want to expose the lie about the globe Earth, talking about subjects like that is just muddying the waters. In my opinion, just stick to the facts, stick to physics, basic physics that can be demonstrated and repeated every single day by every single person. And that's what's going to debunk the globe. That's what debunks the globe. Not only the globe, but the stationary flat Earth, again, which is the false dichotomy with the globe Earth. You know, there's no different, you know, it's no given, in my opinion, that globe Earthers are completely ignoring this. You know, globe Earthers are completely, how many videos do I have? I have over 100 videos, maybe close to 200 videos on this. Well, not on the motion of the Earth. We'll say, you know, around 50 videos when it comes to the motion of the Earth, maybe a little under. Dell has probably over 100 videos when it comes to the motion of the Earth. Point being is that it's funny how none of these globe Earthers acknowledge any of the facts that we talk about. What do? They go and debate a fucking motionless flat Earther, you know, about nonsense. So not only are globe Earthers ignoring this, now you have motionless flat Earthers ignoring this as well. You know, so again, motionless flat Earth and globe Earth are no different. Not only do they claim the same Harry Potter physics, but they're also completely ignoring this topic. You know, they completely misrepresent, they strawman, you know, and completely just straight up lie. Again, motionless flat Earthers and globe Earthers. I'm not just saying that. That's what's happening. That's the facts. You know, a lot of misrepresentation and a lot of fucking lying. Not only that, ignoring the facts. And that's how they ignore them, because when somebody does bring up the subject, they go into misrepresenting. They go into sea lining, like they don't understand. Oh, it's too hard to understand. What's so hard to understand? A chain reaction of motion. When I apply a force to this container in this direction, that container pushes the water, and then the water pushes the ball in that same direction. Everything moving in that same direction. Again, if something is less than the medium, it's going to follow that same direction. Buoyancy being a chain reaction of motion. How is that hard to understand? But then you have fucking morons online. Oh, I don't get it. It's too complicated. It goes over my head. It's too much. Like, what? This pushes on this and this pushes on that? That's too hard to understand? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? So again, this is just another fucking tactic of the fucking flirbs, motionless flirbs and the globers, to say that, oh, it's just too complicated. It's too complicated. I don't get it. It's just, I don't know. I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to understand it. I just don't get it. Fucking morons. Like, if you're truly being honest, you're a fucking moron. Because a child can understand a chain reaction of motion. If I push this is going to push this, and then the container's going to push the water, and then the water's going to push the all in the same direction. Chain reaction of motion. Easy. A child can understand it. So if you're a grown-ass fucking man saying that you don't get it and all that, you're a fucking idiot. I hate to break it to you, you know, you're a fucking moron. So again, helium balloon, release it, what direction does it go? Boom, goes up. Helium doesn't push itself. What's pushing it up? The more dense air underneath. Again, air doesn't push itself either. What's pushing up the air? It's the ground. Why is William getting angry? I'm not angry. I'm angry? Oh, just because I'm showing a little bit of passion. That's another thing I've noticed, that a lot of trolls, they don't like you to show passion. They don't like when you actually show some passion, some humanity, you know, some you know, you know what I'm saying? Some emotion, you know, some emotion behind what you're saying, you know, that's always good. That's always the icing on the cake, right? It's literally what pumps people up, in my opinion. It's showing some emotion, right? So showing some passion, right? But guess what? You show some passion and you have the trolls. Oh, why are you getting angry? You don't need to get angry. So they just want me to speak all monotone like fucking Jaren and like Witsit. Just talk like a fucking robot. So just regurgitate without any emotion. Guess what? That's not gonna happen. Because what? Because I'm passionate about this. So if you're mistaking my passion for anger, that's a personal problem. But guarantee you, most of the people watching this are not gonna see that I'm angry. They're gonna see that I'm passionate. Again, this is just another tactic they try to use. They try to minimize, they don't want people to show passion. They don't want people to be angry, to show a little bit of anger towards bullshit. You know? They want people to just be passive. You know, just get on your meds, get on your little medication, and just be passive, right? Who loves that? Abusers love that. People that abuse other people love when the victim is just passive. Abusers love that. What happens when the victim has had enough and they actually stand up for themselves, they actually show some passion and some anger? Guess what? The abuser's not gonna like that because it's gonna be harder to control. So that's why they don't want us to show passion or anger towards bullshit, because then it's gonna be harder to control people like that. So again, what do they want? They just want people passive. Don't show emotion. Don't show any passion. No, don't do that. You don't have to. Like, yes, I do. Oh, hell yeah, I do. Especially if I'm talking about the number one lie on earth that's literally crippling people mentally. That's literally keeping people dumb. You don't want me to show passion when it comes to exposing that? Wow. That's pretty weird. Again, if you're not at it, you know, then you're a fucking idiot trying to tell people to not show any passion. You know, use reason and logic instead of insults and anger. I do use reasoning and logic. I use it all. I use all the tools necessary. Reasoning and logic is the driver in this, and emotion is just the icing on the cake. My passion is just the icing on the cake. Are you not seeing my channel, like seeing my other videos? It's all about logic and reason. Everything I present is about logic and reason that's rooted to the practical. So again, you're just misrepresenting. Again, all the tactics, you're displaying all the tactics. Askro, is that your name? Because it's, yeah, Askro. I'm gonna just call you Ass Crack from now on. If you have bulletproof physics, you don't need insults. Okay, I do have bulletproof physics, but I also have trolls, you know, at it. So when somebody's poking you, and you just tell them to stop nicely, like, oh, no, eventually you're gonna have to get angry so they can stop, you know? And that's exactly what happens. I don't just show anger right away or passion right away. It's when, you know, it's an ongoing thing, you know? So again, it applies to all everyday life. If you don't show some anger or some passion towards something that you care about, then people are not gonna stop. People are gonna keep going. You give people an inch, they're gonna take a mile. So, I know physics does work. But again, I like to use all the tools in my disposal. And that includes showing some emotion, showing some passion. Why would I hold that back? You know, that's like telling me to not be me. And again, if you don't like my content, if you don't like how I present this, you don't have to watch me. You don't have to watch this. Go watch somebody else. Go watch Jaren. Go watch Witsit. You know, go watch him regurgitate a fucking 10-page long book or a 100-page long book or a 10-page long article. Go watch them just regurgitate this bullshit. Again, if you don't like the way I present it, because as humans, we're all different. So telling me to not show any passion, and then you do it yourself. How about you do that? How about you present whatever you want to present and you do it the way you want to do it instead of trying to dictate other people? Because that's where this whole thing falls apart. It's when people start to dictate other people's lives. That's what we're living right now. A bunch of fucking dictators dictating other people's lives. And I guarantee you, if people actually woke up and understood what's really going on, they wouldn't allow it. They don't even allow it in their personal life. Why the fuck would they allow it in a bigger scale? Oh, it's because it's the way it is. It's what we were born into, right? So life has to be this way. We need dictators. We need people to tell us what to do, you know, and how to live. And what, yeah, other human beings that have the same reason capacities as you to tell you what to do. Again, it's all about dumbing people down. And that's exactly what's happening. And people need to snap out of it. And again, showing emotion, showing passion, there's nothing wrong with that. If anything, it's great. It shows that you're human. If buoyancy exists because a jar is moving upwards, why doesn't it instantly turn off in free fall even though it's still moving up? Why does it instantly turn off in free fall? Because the background medium, it affects all matter equally. So the reason why matter has inertia, it's affected instantly as soon as it's in free fall. That's why that's why everything decelerates at the same rate. Because without that force, again, inertia comes into play. And again, inertia is proportional to an object's mass, so it's gonna decelerate everything at the same rate. It's literally that simple. Again, I don't need to elaborate any more than that. You know, what is this background medium? Oh yeah, that's up. You know, that's still up for discussion, I guess you could say. What exactly it is? I think it's some kind of a static field, electric static field, in my opinion. So that's where these motionless flat earthers say, oh, we can measure electricity in the background, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, because there's probably an electric static field. That's what you're measuring. Now they're claiming like they're literally claiming the same thing as Globers. Like, oh, but this static field is flowing. It's flowing down, and that's what accelerates matter. It's like, no, if you're measuring a static field in the background, it's static. I mean, it's in the fucking name. Come on. It's in the fucking name. It's a static field. Electric static field. What does static mean? Does static mean motion? Last I heard, or last I remember, static means the opposite of motion. It means motionless. It means no motion. Static. So again, the stationary flirs are doing the exact same thing Globers are doing. They're claiming that this background medium is actually flowing and it's not static. So again, it doesn't take a genius to see what's really going on. You know, it's funny how all these fucking stationary flirt channels are being promoted. They literally are growing. Like, you know, yet my channel has been stuck at 2K subs for the last year. Dell's channel's been stuck at the 27K for like the last 4 years. Like 4 or 5 years. Like mine and Dell's channels are the only two channels that are literally stuck now, that are not growing. But yet all these other fucking stationary flirt channels and all these other truth channels are all still growing. Like, what? Like, oh my god. Like, if that doesn't show you like the true censorship that's really going on, I don't know what will. Like, it's crazy. Astro, it applies not only to vertical motion but also to horizontal. But the thing is that in horizontal motion you have air friction, and air friction is gonna resist more than inertia. So the air friction is gonna overcome the inertia aspects of deceleration. So that's why it only affects the vertical equally, because there's no air friction in that vector, because the air is moving up as well. So that's why it only affects inertia only affects matter equally in the vertical vector, again because the air is also moving up in that same direction. If you try to decelerate something then you're gonna have air friction as well. So it's not gonna be 100% equal. You can decelerate without displacement in a horizontal vector. So you can have a bottle of water like this, moving at a constant 60 miles an hour, and as soon as you push the clutch in, the water's not going to displace. The whole car, everything inside is going to start to decelerate equally. You're not going to get the displacement from braking, you know. So you can do that test yourself if you want. You know, you need a manual transmission, and again, go 60 miles an hour. You don't have to go that fast. 30 miles an hour. Press the clutch in, and you're going to get deceleration without displacement. Because you're simply you're not applying the brakes at that point, and you're not engine braking. You know, you're pushing in the clutch, and the whole car is going to start to decelerate. It's going to start to lose momentum, and then the water inside, everything's going to start to lose momentum, and you're not going to get displacement. Could it be so slight we need better equipment to detect? Again, maybe, I don't know. People need to do these tests themselves, but it is what it is. Hey, what's up?
What is this?
So I'm asking 3 very easy questions to
Yeah.
see if people can get at least 2 of the 3 correct.
Okay.
You want to give it a shot?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect. So it have to do with accelerometers, simple accelerometers.
I don't even know what a accelerometer is.
Accelerometer is like a container, for example, like this water bottle that detects acceleration.
Okay.
So for example, look, I have a box truck here, halfway filled with water. One of the trucks is accelerating forward, one is at rest, and one is accelerating in reverse. Which one of these 3 trucks is at rest?
At rest, the middle one.
Exactly. Which one's accelerating forward?
Forward. I would say that one.
Yes. Why is that one accelerating forward?
Intuition.
Yeah, exactly. Common sense.
Sure.
But it has to do with inertia, though.
Sure.
You could say the water's being left behind,
Uh-huh.
so the container just comes up to meet it. So the water kind of compresses towards the back.
Yeah.
That's obvious, right? So the second one is pretty similar. Again, box truck with a bowling ball hanging in it.
Okay.
Which one is at rest?
The middle one.
Again, right? Exactly. Which one's accelerating forward?
That one.
Okay, exactly. Yeah, it is. And again, why do you think, again?
Intuition.
Again, inertia, again, same thing, exactly. So again, could we say that the bowling ball is being left behind?
Yeah.
Right? Because the air inside of it is not dense enough to push it. So the bowling ball is just remaining in its position in space, and the whole container is moving, and the bowling ball is just being left behind. So again, I can show you that here, If I apply force in this direction, the ping pong ball is going to be left behind in this direction. So pretty easy, right? So now, the last one. You got 2 of 2 already. Here I have a helium balloon.
Yeah.
So the helium balloon is less dense than the air inside of it.
Right.
Which one is accelerating forward?
Forward. Well, my intuition tells me this one, but I'm not 100% sure this time.
Okay, well, the reality is C is accelerating forward.
Uh-huh.
So if you have an object that's buoyant, for example, this ball is
Yeah.
buoyant, it has water in there and it's
Yeah.
buoyant. If I apply a force in this direction, guess what direction the ball follows? That same direction. You see that?
Interesting.
So because the medium is more dense than the helium in this case, or the ball, the medium is able to push it in that same direction. So buoyancy is a chain reaction of motion. So when you apply a force, the force of the container pushing on the air also pushes the helium in that same direction. So buoyancy always follows the direction of the force.
Buoyancy follows the direction of the force.
Yes, it's a chain reaction of motion, basically. So
Okay.
again, the container pushes the water, and the water pushes the less dense object.
Okay.
So yeah. So let me ask you this: when I have a container like this in free fall,
Yeah.
and I release it like that,
Uh-huh.
do you believe it accelerated down to the earth?
Do I believe what accelerates toward the
Yeah.
earth?
If I hold this container, this water bottle, and I release it, do you believe it accelerated down to the earth?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You believe that. So when I actually apply a force, again, the water wants to move up. Just like the example here with the matter always reacts to acceleration. The water always goes towards the back. When I actually accelerate it, the water wants to move up. But when I put it into free fall, there's no effects of acceleration. So in free fall, I don't know if you knew, gravity is just a theory. So a physical measurement of acceleration in free fall has never been detected. So that's why gravity is just a theory.
Come again. You said gravity is just a theory.
It's just a theory. So for example, if I have a buoyant object and I actually accelerate this down, the buoyant object's gonna get pushed down. And if something is more dense, it's gonna be left behind. So something is more dense in the medium, it gets left behind. It gets left behind, right? In free fall, you don't get that effects. So that's why, again, in free fall, there is no. So if
So
we,
where are we going with this?
so that's my next point. If we understand buoyancy always follows the direction of the force, and if something is more dense, it just gets left behind. If I have an apple and a helium balloon here, and I release the helium balloon, what direction is the force?
If you release the
A helium
ball,
balloon.
Well,
If we understand buoyancy always follows the direction of the force, what direction does the helium balloon go?
the helium balloon is going up because it's
Going
lighter
up.
than the air.
Yes. So
But-
the air is literally. Why do you think it goes up?
It's lighter than the air
But what about the air being heavier that makes the helium balloon go up?
because it's lighter than the air.
Well, because would you agree that the air is pushing up the helium?
Sure.
Yeah, just like in this example, the air is pushing the helium in this direction. So we understand inanimate matter cannot move by itself. So what's pushing up the air to be able to push up the helium? If we understand that buoyancy is a chain reaction of motion.
I lost you.
So if we understand that air is pushing up the helium,
Yeah.
the air is actually being pushed up by the earth. So the earth is literally pushing up like that, that's compressing the air, and then the air is able to push up the helium. So if something is more dense in the air, like an apple, when I release the apple, the air is not dense enough to push the apple, so the apple just gets left behind.
Okay.
So the whole earth system is in motion, literally right now, pushing up against us. So I know you believe the earth is a ball, correct? You believe the earth is a ball?
Do I believe the Earth is what?
Yes.
It's a
It's a ball,
Ball,
right?
ball? Yeah.
Yeah, if we could prove that objects don't accelerate down because there's no effects of acceleration, and it's actually the Earth pushing up because buoyancy shows us that,
Uh-huh.
if we understand that the Earth is literally moving up, and a globe Earth, up is relative, so it's in every direction away from the center, so every direction, right? If the Earth was a ball, how can it move up in every direction at the same time? If the Earth was a ball.
I don't understand this.
So if we can prove that it's the Earth literally pushing up against you right now and not pulling you down, right? If we can prove that, and the Earth was a ball, how can the Earth be moving up at the same time in every direction?
I never thought about this.
The fact is, it wouldn't work. That would mean the Earth would have to be expanding and growing by the second.
So what's your theory?
The fact is that the fact that there is no physical downward acceleration in free fall, and it's the Earth literally pushing up against you right now, that debunks the whole globe Earth theory. Because the globe Earth theory requires people to believe in a downward pull of gravity to be able to believe in the ball Earth. Because if we could prove this the other way around, that it's the Earth that comes up to you, then that wouldn't work from a globe. That proves that the Earth is a level plane that's literally pushing up.
You believe the Earth is level plane?
Well, I don't believe it. I go with what reality shows me. And if buoyancy shows me the direction of the force, that's what I go with. So practical physics shows me that when I release a helium balloon, the force is up. And again, buoyancy is a chain reaction of motion. So the Earth pushing up
So
the
if
air.
I were to Google the theory or the reality that you believe in, what should I type in?
People have done conversations with ChatGPT, and ChatGPT concedes that gravity is just a theory that goes against practical physics, and that practical physics shows that it's the Earth's motion moving up through a static medium.
Is there a name for the theory that you are proposing?
Well, it's not a theory. It's just
Reality.
Yeah, it's reality.
Okay.
Type in, does buoyancy follow the direction of the force, or buoyancy always follows the direction of the force? That's the fact. That's practical physics.
Okay, bro, you lost me. If I become interested in looking into more, what should I look up?
Again, here, I'll give you my channel. Because this is the #1 censored topic, so you're not gonna find anything on these mainstream platforms. You could take that with you if you want. In there are the top 6 proofs that debunk the globe, on top of the #1 that there is no physical downward acceleration in free fall. So when an object is in free fall, it's just decelerating. It's not accelerating down to the Earth. So it's decelerating and the Earth just catches up again, and that's why there's no effects of acceleration in free fall.
Okay.
So,
What's your name?
My name is William.
William, Brian.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, no worries, man. Thanks for the chat.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank
that.
you.
Yeah, take care.
What are you?
So I'm showing here 3 very easy questions. Look, we understand this, and I'll take them one by one. So I have a box truck here halfway filled with water, right? One of these trucks is accelerating forward, one is at rest, and one is accelerating in reverse. Which one is at rest?
Center one.
The B, right?
Yeah.
That's the one at rest, obviously, because the water is not displacing, right? Which
Yeah.
one's accelerating forward?
The one C.
You got it. A. Why is A accelerating forward?
Because it gives you a jerk backward.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Something's more dense, it gets
Yeah.
pushed back because of inertia, right? So there's displacement when there's acceleration, right? So this next one, pretty similar. I have a bowling ball hanging with a string now. Which one is accelerating forward?
C. Forward. A.
A. Now you got it right.
Oh, A.
It's A. Yeah. Maybe you're seeing it a little wrong. Yeah. So the bowling ball, again, I have a demonstration here. If I apply a force this way, the ball's gonna swing back.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, could we say that the bowling ball is simply being left behind
Yeah.
because the whole container is moving,
Yeah.
but the air inside of it is not dense enough to push it, so the ball just gets left behind.
Yeah.
And that's why it appears to swing back because of inertia, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So this next one, now I have a helium balloon. A helium balloon is less dense than the air that's surrounding it. Which one is accelerating forward?
B.
No.
A.
No.
C.
C. So again, because helium is less dense than the air, when you apply a force in that direction, the air is able to push the helium in that same direction.
But the air is also stationary inside the container.
Yeah, the air is also being pushed, obviously, because the box truck is sealed. So when you move that container, that whole air inside of it also moves. So that air, because it's more dense than the helium, is able to push it in that same direction, not like the bowling ball. And I can demonstrate that here. Look, this is a buoyant object inside of water. Obviously, water is more dense than the buoyant object.
Uh-huh.
If I apply a force in this direction, what direction will the ball go?
It should go in the forward direction. After
Yes. See that? Because buoyancy is a chain reaction of motion. Something pushing on something else that's pushing something else, right?
You. Okay.
So let me show you this. So if I have this container, and we understand water always displaces when there's
Yeah.
acceleration.
Yeah.
If I have this container like this and I release it into free fall, do you believe it accelerated down to the earth?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Because if we drop a ball in a feather in vacuum, fully
There's no
vacuum,
displacement.
there is no, the earth moves forward and the stationary object stays there.
Exactly, the object stays exactly where it's at, but that defies all the physics of acceleration, because when I actually apply a force down, look,
Yeah.
the water wants to move to the top.
Yeah.
Same thing with this. If I apply a force down, the ball wants to move to the top. But it's not because the ball's moving up, it's because it's being left behind. of the actual force. Now, if we understand buoyancy follows the same direction of the force, you know, it's a chain reaction of motion of something pushing on something else that's pushing something else. If I have a helium balloon here and I release it, what direction is the force? Because obviously the helium is going to be surrounded by air, which is more dense. So if I release a helium balloon, what direction? The force is up. So we understand inanimate matter cannot move by itself, right?
Yeah.
So what's pushing up the helium? Just like in this example, what's pushing up the helium? It's the air that's surrounding it. So because the air is more dense, it's able to push up the helium. But what's pushing up the air? What is gravity? Well, the reality is gravity is a push of the earth, not a pull. So the earth is literally pushing up against you right now, which is pushing up the air, which is pushing up helium balloons when they go up. So again, gravity is not a pulling force like we were taught, because again, there is no effects of acceleration in free fall because there's no displacement. And that's because objects are not accelerating down. It's the earth that comes up to meet an object in free fall. So that's the reality. And that's why gravity is always just going to be a theory, you know? So again, buoyancy shows us the direction of the force 100% of the time. And again, we experience a force here on Earth, and that force is up, not down. So again, you guys obviously believe the Earth is a ball, right?
Yeah.
So if we could prove that the Earth is literally moving up, pushing up right now, and up is relative on a ball, in other words, in every direction away from the center, how can the Earth be moving up in every direction simultaneously to create buoyancy?
What if it's not moving upwards?
Sorry?
What if it's not moving upwards?
Well, then we wouldn't have buoyancy.
Like, we all know that Earth has a fiery core, like an iron core, and due to which the magnetic fields take place, and maybe they take in the effect and they create the atmosphere everywhere around.
So the gravity the globe Earth model tries to claim that gravity is a force pulling objects
Yeah.
down, but then buoyancy goes against that force, which is a direct contradiction of what we experience here on Earth, because buoyancy goes in the same direction as the force. If I go this way, the ball doesn't go back in the opposite direction. Again, because the medium is able to push it in that same direction. So the fact that air is able to push helium up, the air also has to be moving in that same direction, which is the opposite direction they're claiming. Because again, the fact is, if the Earth was pushing up on a ball, it would mean they would have to be growing by the second, which doesn't make any sense. It would just explode.
Yeah.
So in order for people to believe in the ball Earth theory, they have to believe in the theory of gravity being a pulling force, but in fact it's a pushing force of the Earth. So that's the fact. So that's why they lied to us about gravity, because they want people to believe in the ball Earth. So the Earth is a level plane, and everybody's up is the same.
So you claim to say that the Earth is a flat.
It's not flat, because flat Earth is also a psyop. Over 95% of flat Earthers claim the Earth is motionless. So they also believe in a magical force like gravity, and they're just having a fake debate online. And that's how they're keeping this whole thing asleep.
So what is your conclusion of the Earth?
So the Earth is a level plane that's in motion, because level is an orientation. You can have
But
level.
where is the Earth moving? Going upward?
Yes, it's moving upwards relative to us.
No, relative with the universe, it's just going upwards.
Yes, so well, that the Earth system is all like the lights in the sky, all the sun, everything is part of the Earth system. So it's
the
one
whole
unit.
solar system,
Sure.
it's just going upwards.
Yeah, but the solar system is not what we've been told. Like, they're not separate entities. The sun and the moon are very small, and they're inside of the Earth containment. So everything's moving. Everything's a creation here. So it's all.
Basically, sun and moon are inside Earth's containment, and not Earth is inside the sun's containment.
Yes, it's the other way around. So the sun and the moon again are very small, and they move around the Earth. Nobody knows the exact path of them though. We just obviously go with what we were told. But the fact is, the Earth is a contained system as well. So nobody's been outside of the Earth. And you know how we know that? You guys understand the second law of thermodynamics? Has to do with entropy. You guys understand entropy, right? So in order to have two opposing pressure systems next to each other, you need a solid barrier separating them. As soon as you remove that solid barrier, you're gonna have equilibrium. So the fact that they're claiming Earth is an open system next to a vacuum without any equilibrium happening, that defies physics. The fact is, the Earth is a contained system, and nobody's been outside of it. So the highest human beings have ever gone is only about 25 miles, because aircraft can only fly so high. Because an aircraft required to push off of the air to fly, that means the air has to be at a certain density. It has to be thick enough to be able to push off of it. The higher you elevate, the less dense the air becomes, and aircraft cannot push off of it anymore. So there's a limit to how high we can fly. So everything that NASA shows us about outer space is all made up. It's all cartoons for adults.
But what do you think that since Earth has a fiery and molten core, do you believe that?
No, nobody's dig deeper than 8 miles. So nobody knows what's at the center of the Earth. And again, I don't even believe it's a ball. Physics shows me that that's a physical impossibility. You know, the fact that there is no physical downwards acceleration, which a globe Earth requires, because again, if it's the Earth
We
moving up,
stopped at 8 miles because our equipment started to burn down. You know.
I'm sorry?
We stopped digging beyond 8 miles.
Yeah,
in the Russia.
yes,
during
the Russia,
geography. The Russian hole that they
yeah,
started
yes,
digging.
yes,
So they stopped because their equipment started melting and everything.
yes, it got too hot.
So why did it get hot?
I would say that they're just theorizing what's at the center. I think it's because of the compression. The deeper you go, the more weight there's going to be above. So there's going to be more compression the deeper you go. It's like soil. It's more compressed the deeper you. It's because of the compression. I think that's why there's heat. You know, it's nothing to do with the molten core. You know, it's just compression.
So then how deep do you think the Earth goes then?
I have no clue. Nobody's been outside of it. That's a mystery. I don't think we can go outside of the Earth. I think whatever's containing this Earth, it's there so that we can never penetrate it. I think the government have found the containment, because if you go in a straight line, for example, south or in any direction, you're not just going to go infinite forever. You're going to eventually reach a wall, in my opinion, or the container of the Earth. And that's what the government's keeping from everyone, that we actually live in some kind of terrarium. So the Earth is a contained system that's literally moving up, and that's what gravity is. It's the motion of the Earth. It's a push of the Earth. And that's why objects appear to go down. It's because they're slowing down and the Earth just catches up again. You know, that's the reality. That's what physics shows us. You know. Yeah. So here, let me.
Yeah.
You guys have any questions? I mean, before I
No.
here, I can give you my channel. You can check it out. I'm super censored online, but you guys can give here. Let me give you one as well. And yeah, over all the flat Earth channels that I came across, over hundreds of channels, they're all controlled. They're all bullshitters. They all claim the Earth is motionless, which is a false dichotomy.
What's your name again?
My name is Willie.
Vishal.
Yeah, nice to meet you, man. Yeah, take care, man. Oh man, that went way better than I thought. without the gifts. Again, the gifts is just like the icing on the cake, you know. Showing the slow motion, you know, of matter not reacting to acceleration shows that, you know, just kind of like, again, it's like the icing on the cake. But one of the guys here understood that, oh, if you have a bowling ball and a feather in a container in free fall, they're all gonna fall at the same rate. So he understood that there was no displacement, even though I didn't have to show him. You know, obviously I explained it, but he even understood that. You know, that there's not gonna be any displacement, that everything's just gonna fall at the same rate, which again, it's a direct contradiction of true acceleration. You know, if you're claiming acceleration, again, without any effects of acceleration, then might as well believe that, again, you can run through walls if you run at 30 miles an hour through a wall. I would like to see somebody put that theory to the test, right? Any volunteers? You want to put that theory to the test, that if you run 30 miles an hour straight into a wall, you'll walk through it, you'll run through it? We need volunteers for that test. Hey, it's a scientific theory. Why? Because I say so. I called it a scientific theory, so there, you must believe it's a scientific theory. Oh man, I would love to see that. Oh man, that would be fucking funny. Oh man. Oof. It's crazy because I was actually gonna, and there's loads of people I would like to see try. It would have to be a weak ass wall made of tissue maybe, but even then, like, the claim is you'll go through it without like breaking it. In other words, you know, you'll go through it like if you just melted through it, kind of, you know, like without even affecting the wall whatsoever, without ripping it or breaking it. You just literally, you know, like X-Men. I forgot. There's a character in X-Men, that can walk through walls, if I'm not mistaken. Again, we're going into X-Men physics now. I think it's like a female in the X-Men that can walk through walls, right? Or Nightcrawler, right? You can just teleport to another location just because, right? Yeah, pretty crazy. I know, they do say that matter is mostly empty space. Prove it. I think I did see a demonstration, a scientific demonstration, that if you go faster than the speed of sound or something like that, that you're able to go through a wall. And they actually did do that experiment. I've seen it. It's funny because I've seen that like a few weeks ago, like a couple of weeks ago. I think it was in one of these mainstream science channels, and they actually accelerated something like, I don't know if it was like close to the speed of sound or like around that. And guess what happened? It disintegrated when it hit the concrete wall. Their theory didn't stand up. They were saying that it would dematerialize, I guess, and just go through the matter. You know, if you hit like 700 miles an hour or something like that, or something along those lines. But they actually put it to the test, and it just completely disintegrated into pieces. Like, oh my god, it was so funny. But yeah, it's literally the same logic there, you know. Idiots, exactly. Hey, at least they put it to the test, right? I'll give them that. I would like to see the one running into the wall, though. Running through a concrete wall. I want to see someone put that through the test. I could make a prediction that you're gonna smack and slam your face into the concrete wall, and you're not even gonna move it. Jaren should do it, right? Maybe it'll knock some sense into him, huh? Maybe we'll get something positive out of it. That's funny. All stuff anyone can learn from running the Coyote cartoons, exactly. There's gonna be blood on that wall, exactly. We could make a prediction that, yeah, there's gonna be blood on that wall. It's gonna displace into the wall. Oh, what's up, Tina? City, anybody new that joined? Fred, Sir Turtle Otter, Selenelian, Anton. Let me see, Anton. And can it be that the structure where the Earth's terrarium is fixed is built on massive system producing the force of gravity by physical means and laws we yet don't know and understand? Yeah, again, the mechanism of the Earth's motion is a mystery. I don't know. Again, I say that it could be like I'm some kind of rotational arm like this, right? Pushing up. And it's literally, like, it's not moving like that, like fast. Relative to us, that motion is going to be very minute. In other words, it probably moves like 1 degree a day. You know? Maybe less than 1 degree a day. You know, so again, it could also be on some kind of track, so that the Earth could be like independent, not part of, like, not attached to a center point like this, but it could be like on kind of track, like electromagnetic path, like with superconductors, for example. Have you guys seen the videos with superconductors? How it just follows the track, and it has to be really, 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 really cold for it to become a superconductor to be able to levitate and move on the track. And I have a theory that, oh shit, maybe that's why the Earth is a sheet of ice, right? And then obviously with the sun, you know, melting parts of that ice, which is where we live. But if the Earth was mostly ice, you know, that would make sense that it was probably like a huge superconductor, and it's literally moving in its own path, like a circular path, and again, deviating from that path every so often. And that's where we get our high tide and our low tide. Again, the exact motion and the exact mechanism of the Earth's motion, it's unknown. That we don't know. You know? The fact is that it is in motion. That's the fact. We don't need to know the mechanism or the path, exact path that it's taking to know that it's in motion. You know, it shows us that. Reality shows us that. Boomy, what's up? Let me see. Will, I was checking about the Earth's tides. The sea has over 2 meters distance between the tides, but Lake Superior, for example, has only 5 centimeters tides. That theory doesn't work with lakes. Should it be the same effect? No, again, it's a gradient, first of all, and again, the larger the body of water, the more it's going to be affected. So a lot of these the lakes, the Great Lakes, a lot of them are connected to the ocean, and that's why they're affected very minute, you know, because they're smaller bodies of water compared to the oceans. The oceans only show about 58 feet of deviation, and the oceans are over 10,000 miles across, or thousands and thousands and thousands of miles across. But again, if we're talking about tens of thousands of miles across and only 58 feet of deviation, you know, and then that decreases, you know, depending on where you are on Earth. You could go all the way from 0 deviation all the way up to 58 feet. So it's not a constant. So these lakes are probably closer to the center. And not only that, they're very smaller bodies of water compared to the ocean. So they're going to show very minute changes in the tides. That, you know, the fact is the oceans are reorientating. Even the mainstream admits it's a horizontal movement of water, you know. So again, there's going to be different heights at different places, especially if there's smaller bodies of water. Again, the larger the body of water, the more it's going to be affected. And that's why the oceans are the ones that are affected the most, because there's the largest body of water on Earth that, you know, range for tens of thousands of miles probably. We don't know. But again, that doesn't change the fact that the oceans are deviating like that. Slightly, very minute relative to the Earth. Very minute. So that's why we don't feel that vertical change when we're just standing on Earth. It's just so minute, it's basically negligible to us. But the oceans, the water shows that there is a deviation, that there is a horizontal movement of water. Water doesn't move by itself. So what's deviating the water? Now you have globe earthers and motionless flat earthers. The globe obviously claims it's the moon, right? The gravity of the moon that's changing the orientation of the water, that's moving the water, right? Now you have stationary flirps saying the exact same thing, that it's the sun and the moon now. So it's not just the moon, because obviously the sun's within our atmosphere or within our system. They claim it's the sun and the moon causing it. Again, no different than the globe Earth. The stationary flat Earth is literally the globe Earth in disguise. Literally. The stationary flat Earth and the globe Earth are one and the same. They're the exact same thing. They claim the exact same layout of the maps, except that the Earth is open, the flat Earth is open, and the globe Earth is closed. Again, they have people debating the exact same idea. It's pretty pathetic. What's up, man? Want to give this a shot, or no? Kind of came up to me, just looked at me, and walked away. Kind of weird. Didn't even say nothing. Oh shit. He was wearing a mask too, which made it a little weirder. Yeah. That was kind of weird. It's cool though. So yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. The fact that people don't see that the stationary flat Earth is exactly no different than claiming that the Earth is a globe. You utilize the same physics, you utilize the same explanations, you just change the word to gravity to electrostatics, and then the cause of the tides is not the moon, but it's the sun and the moon, you know. And it's like, bro, come on, it's so pathetic. I watched somewhere how static electricity moves water, that's connected with the tides, in a way explaining the suspension of the sun and the moon. Okay, then again, I would like to see an experiment of water like this deviating, changing its orientation using electricity. Again, not just affecting it and causing maybe little ripples in it, minute ripples, you know, just like it might be sound, what you're thinking about. Obviously sound affects water because sound is vibrations in the air. So those vibrations, you know, water is gonna be affected by that vibration. So you might be confusing electricity with sound, you know, or again, what do they call it? Hertz, whatever that's called. Fuck. Again, they use speakers to change sand, for example. You know, so again, I'm talking about reorientation of water. The only way water is gonna reorientate is if you change the motion vector. Then the water correlates to the new motion vector. That's the only way to reorientate water. Fact. If you think there's a different way to reorientate water other than changing the motion vector, then you need to demonstrate that. You know, and the fact is the water cannot reorientate without motion of the container, changing its vector. That's just reality, you know. But again, if you want to believe otherwise, you want to believe that there is a different way but without any practical demonstrations, then that's fine. You know, believe that. You know, I'm not here to convince everyone. I'm just here to represent the facts. And if the facts make sense to you, which they should, and you accept them, then that's great. You know, but if you want to deny the facts in favor of a belief, then that's your own personal problem at that point. You know, I'm not gonna waste my time trying to convince people that are already set bent in their beliefs. Like, I'm not gonna try to convince a Christian, a hardcore Christian, you know, that believed Jesus walked on water and all this magical shit. I'm not gonna try to convince him that none of that was true. I'm not gonna try to convince them that the Bible is not a literal historical book. That is, you know, I'm not gonna try to convince them that it's just a metaphor book. You know, a book that, you know, about spiritual teachings. That's it. Nothing historical about it. Nothing that actually happened. I'm not gonna waste my time trying to convince someone that just wants to believe that 100%. You know, it'll be a waste of time. It'll be a waste of my energy. You know, there's gonna be people that are gonna stay stubborn and stuck in their beliefs. Fine. I'm more of a scientific mind. I'm the kind that, show me. You making a claim about objective reality? Show me. You know? Again, the Bible teaches you wisdom of everyday life. Yeah, it's about wisdom. It's about teachings, you know, of how to be a human. You know, when you start invoking the Bible into physics, in the physics conversation, then you're a fucking idiot. If you try to say, oh, the earth is motionless because the Bible says it's motionless, you're a fucking idiot. Oh, the earth is flat because the Bible says the earth is flat. You're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking moron. I hate to break it to you. If you literally think that, you're a fucking idiot. Nothing personal, it's just a fact. You know? Make it rain fish and shit, like, or change water into wine. Again, these are metaphors, you know? You could use water to grow grapes, and then you could turn the grapes into wine. You don't just magically turn water into wine like a magician, like. And that's what people believe, because people are fucking retards. You know, it's a metaphor, in my opinion, that, yeah, you can take water, sunlight, some grapes, you know, to grow grapes. And then you can make wine out of the grapes, you know, or blueberries. Wow, you turn water into wine, but using the scientific method that anybody can do. Not by magic, because you kissed it or you touched it with 5 fingers and released your thumb and then your pinky and then your index, and then bam, there's no code like that's gonna change water into wine. A little trick, little magic trick. Like, oh my god, like, people actually believe that literally happened. Like, it's so fucking bizarre. Grown ass adults believe that shit. Might as well believe in Santa Claus. Like, might as well fucking believe in Santa Claus. Like, seriously, it's the same fucking logic you're using. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking pathetic. Like, I kind of feel bad for people, but damn. Like, fuck. It's so pathetic, like, damn. Like, no wonder people are being taken advantage of. You know what I'm saying? No wonder people are being taken advantage. They have the child capacity, the mental capacity of a child. Grown-ass fucking people with the mental capacity of a fucking child, like a fucking 6-year-old. Because a 10-year-old can easily comprehend. So they have the mental capacity of like a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old. Because at 7, 8, you start getting common sense. You start getting some logic, you know, some reasoning, you know. So it's pathetic that people don't even have that, you know. It's pretty sad, you know, at the end of the day. Does anyone remember the name of the people who tried to sail to the North Pole and disappeared? Oh, yeah, I remember that. I forgot the name, but yeah. Cool story, cool story. I heard that they were arrested. It could have been a different group too that disappeared, but I know that a group got arrested supposedly. They were trying to go to the north and they were arrested, and without trial. They were just thrown in jail, right, without trial. But it could have been a different group that disappeared. I think so. I think I heard of that too. But I mean, they're just stories, you know. It's funny how I see a lot of TikTok videos. Not a lot, but I've seen some TikTok videos or like little videos like, oh, Admiral Byrd said there was lands beyond the South Pole, and that's why the Earth is flat. Like, what? Like, you see how they're fucking muddying the waters? Like, they're just talking about fucking nonsense about Admiral Byrd seeing lands beyond the poles, and that proves the Earth is flat? That doesn't prove the Earth is flat. That doesn't prove the Earth is level, or it doesn't prove nothing about the shape of the Earth, about the dimensions of the surface. There's nothing. So people disappearing when they go to the North Pole, people will use that as a proof of the flat Earth or level Earth. Oh, you see the Earth? Well, these are flurfs, by the way. These are the flurf proofs. Oh, you know, somebody went to the South Pole and they seen more lands beyond. So there, the Earth is flat. Fucking idiots. And no different than, oh, when you try to go to the North Pole, people have disappeared. You see, that proves the Earth is flat because they arrested you. Like, what the fuck does that have to do with the physical dimensions of the surface? What the fuck? But those are the flurf proofs. Literally, I've seen them. Can you guys see me? Oh my God. Am I back? Can you guys see me? Am I back? I'm not sure because I don't have another phone to check. Oh, okay. So I was getting a fucking call on my phone. That's why I don't like to use this phone for live streaming. And I tried to hang it up, but I don't know what the fuck happened. So good thing I was about to end the stream. So good thing I didn't. Oh my God. Thank God. Okay. And good thing it didn't happen during the conversation. So now if I get a phone call, I'm just gonna ignore it. You know, I tried ending it, but I think what happened is I clicked the phone app instead by accident, and it kind of froze the stream for a second. So I kind of got a little scared. Fuck. So yeah, next time I get a phone call, just ignore it. Just let it ring in the background. So yeah, I'm glad I didn't have to restart it. God damn it. That would have sucked. Oh my God. Whew. All right. I forgot what I was talking about. God damn it. Oh yeah, about the stupid ass flurf proofs. or here's another one. Oh, just focus on NASA. Show NASA fakery, you see? If you show NASA fakery, then you can prove the Earth is flat. It's like, bro, even if globers admit that there is glitches, that there is anomalies of these fucking NASA videos, in their mind they're gonna be like, well, it's technology. There's gonna be glitches with technology. You know, in their mind they're gonna be able to justify. And not only that, you could even go a step further and say that globers are gonna be like, okay, even if they are faking that they're going to outer space, that still doesn't mean the Earth is not a globe. That still doesn't mean the Earth is flat. Which is true. In their mind, it's like, well, they're just lying about going to outer space to save money. So just to come up on money. So even if you showed all these anomalies, all these, you know, discrepancies, all these with NASA, in a glober's mind, that's not physically proving the Earth is not a globe. And I agree. It doesn't physically prove that the Earth is level or is not a globe. You know, you still have to go to physics, the physics of water, again, when containing at rest. You're still gonna have to show real physics if you really wanna get through to people. So I skip all the bullshit. That's muddying the waters, in my opinion. You know, there's a reason why people are just stuck in the middle. You know, when it comes to the flat Earth and globe Earth, you know, they're in the middle because they're just stuck watching all of these demonstrations of NASA. They're just stuck watching all these different flight paths. They're just stuck watching videos of Admiral Byrd going to South Pole and all of these speculation, all of these, you know, stories that don't prove anything physically about the Earth. So that's why people are not properly grounded. Most flat earthers just believe the Earth is flat. They don't understand it. They don't understand that the Earth is not a globe physically. They can't even articulate it to somebody new. That's over 90% of flurfs. You know, and it's because of the motionless flat Earth that has people stuck. You know, avoiding the number one proof that debunks the globe, that keeps the whole globe Earth together, which is the fact that there is no pulling force of gravity. They're ignoring that. You know, they've been fed propaganda about that the Earth can't be moving up because the Flat Earth Society said so, and the Flat Earth Society's controlled that position. So the Flat Earth Society says it's moving up, so it's not moving up. Well, if they're controlled that position and they're also claiming the Earth is flat, well, then I guess the Earth is not flat either, or level, because they're controlled opposition. So anything they say, 100% of what they say is wrong because they're controlled opposition. Like literally not using any logic, any reason, any physics. It's just what they hear. It's just hearsay. It's pathetic, you know? Exactly. They ignore level water. All of these fucking mainstream flat earth channels like Jaren, like even Witsit, they never talk about water being level. A physical measurement of water being level. What do? The black swan. Oh, look, the black swan shows that there is no curvature because you can see an oil tower and you shouldn't be able to see that oil tower. Blah, blah, blah. They're focusing on the vision aspects of that, you know, and ignoring the physical aspects of it. You know, a direct physical measurement. Again, let me show it because I do have it. Let me just show this because, again, based on the curvature rate, based on the radius, there needs to be curvature every mile, and every mile it has to increase, right? Based on the curvature, it doesn't matter how big you claim the Earth is, you know. In other words, if you go to a large body of water, the surface, they're claiming it's bending like this. This is what people believe. This is a physical measurement of the Earth, water in specific, right? The reality is, this is the reality. This is what water is going to show. A direct physical measurement of the Earth is what's going to debunk the globe Earth as well. But then you have all these fucking gatekeepers, you know, like Witsit and Jaren, and apparently Jaren's not a flat earther anymore. The point being is not emphasize, not hammer down these facts. Not only that, the fact that they claim that the Earth is motionless just shows. The fact that they claim the Earth is motionless, the fact that they ignore the physics of water, which are the two top proofs that debunk the globe Earth physically, should show that they're not in this for the truth. Again, they're in this for their personal gain. In my opinion, obviously their channels are monetized, so they're getting money for lying, you know. Now, you know, they could be also getting money under the table, you know. But yeah, at the end of the day, that's what a shill is to go against the facts, to go against your morals, to go against what's right for a profit. You know, physical reality shows that the globe Earth is impossible, not visual observations. Oh, this mountain can be seen from over 200 miles away. Oh, you see, the Earth is flat. Like, no, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. I hate to break it to you. It's not good enough. It's not gonna go nowhere. No one's gonna believe the Earth is flat or accept that the Earth is level because of that observation. People that do, they don't fully comprehend why the Earth is level physically. Again, if you're being swayed by these observations, that's no different than the globe Earth. You're swayed by images and observations. That's how the globe Earth came to be. By just showing you images and observations, you know, that, oh, look at the horizon, you can't see past the horizon. You see, that's the curve of the Earth. You see? Proof, right? That's no different than, oh, look, you could see the black swan. You can see a mountain. Oh, you see, it is flat. It's like now you're battering an observation versus another observation. Again, part of the false dichotomy. Focusing on observations, focusing on flight paths, different flight paths on the map. Like, those are all bullshit. It doesn't prove either or. Just like, again, no different than both of them claiming that there is a physical downwards acceleration, but there are no effects of acceleration. Now they're debating the cause for something that doesn't even exist. Again, the motionless flat earthers and the globe earthers, you know, one and the same. When it comes to gravity, when it comes to proofsies, you know, they ignore the physics of water. They both do. They both ignore the physics of water, and they just focus on angles to Polaris. Oh, look at the angle to Polaris. It can only work from a level Earth, and observing Polaris proves the ground I walk on. Fucking idiots. Fucking idiots. That's fucking, what's his fucking face? Focusing on fucking Polaris all fucking day. What's his fucking... I forgot his fucking face. That fool's going bald already, too. I forgot his name. Some fucking crackhead going bald already. What's his name? He has a fucking... Oakley, Nathan Oakley. There we go. Like, if you see, is when he first started making videos to now, that fool looks tore up. Like, that fool looks like, damn. Like, I don't check out his channel often at all, actually. Sometimes I will go in there and see what the fuck they're talking about. Angles to Polaris, angles to Polaris. Like, What a fucking joke. Ignoring the physics of water while ignoring the physics of water. It's like, fuck me. Fuck me. The fact that Dubé gave him a shout out. Dubé gave, I think, Nathan Oakley and Whitsitt a shout out, right? That was before the final experiment. I don't know if you guys seen that. That just shows, man. Jokely? Nathan Jokely. Nothing Jokely, huh? But yeah, that just shows the little clicks, you know, and that just shows, you know, the promotion of, you know, of these channels. They're all at it. They're all at it. There are different levels of controlled opposition. That's another thing that people need to realize. The controlled opposition is not just the mainstream. You know, like the mainstream flat earthers are not just the controlled opposition. It's smaller channels too, all the way down to like 1K, 2K subscribers. Even small channels like that are controlled opposition. Again, there's different levels, even down to just just people in the comments. A lot of sock puppet accounts. So the controlled opposition goes from just viewers in the comments to small channels, to medium channels, to mainstream channels. They're all over. There's different levels. You know, obviously, Dearth Deep Inside Your Butthole and Eric Dubé, you know, these, and Jeranism, these are like the mainstream controlled opposition, obviously. Flatzoids at lower tier than them. You know, Flatzoids with Nathan Jokely and, you know, all these other morons. Oh, I forgot, ODD's like another mainstream fucking flat earth channel. But then you have levels under that as well that are controlled. You know, small, all the way down to the viewers, to just commenters, to just sock puppet accounts. You know? So, I mean, it's so obvious, but again, people, what do they call it? Parasocial relationships? Is that what that's called? People build this parasocial relationship with these characters, and now they feel the need to defend them. Oh, because they brought me into this subject. They're the ones that introduced it first. So now I'm gonna defend everything they say. Right? That's the kind of mentality people have right now. Over 90% of flirts are literally thinking like that. Like, oh, they were the first ones to bring me into the subject, therefore I'm gonna defend and fight tooth and nail for them, you know, and go against anybody that goes against them. And, you know, what kind of logic is that? What kind of, you know, that's a horrible place to be, you know? But people are there mentally. Over 90% of flirts are there. They're stuck. You know, David Weiss, like a broken tape on repeat. Exactly. David Weiss fucking, he goes on to talk to a new person, right? Having an interview. I seen this the last time. He doesn't even say, oh, I'm going to show you the proofs of the flat earth. He says, I'm going to show you the evidence. And what does he start talking about? Not the physics of water. Not the fact that there is no physical downwards acceleration that globe earth requires. Nope. What does he start talking about? Oh, he just starts talking about the ridiculous numbers of the heliocentric model. Like, oh, they make all these ridiculous claims. Oh, the heliocentric model makes ridiculous claims about speeds and all this shit and black holes, and that's ridiculous. All of those claims are ridiculous. And he just focuses on the claims of the globe and highlights how they're ridiculous, but doesn't get into the physics of it, of how it's debunked, of how you prove a level earth. He just talks about all this nonsense. It never gets to the nitty gritty, you know? And I think that's deliberate. It's like they're trained to avoid the facts, to talk about a bunch of nonsense, you know, to just muddy the waters with a bunch of evidence that he even calls evidence, not proofs. You know, his own words. I'm gonna show you evidence, right? I can show you proofs. I can show you physical proofs. Again, like water being level when contained and at rest. The fact that there are no effects of acceleration in free fall. Debunking the globe earth because it requires that physical acceleration. I can show you proofs. But all these mainstream flirts, oh, I'll show you the evidences. And again, they go on to this fucking tangent that goes nowhere. That doesn't prove anything. And they think they did a good job. You know, the subscribers give them a thumbs up. Oh, you did a great job. That was great. Like, bro, it didn't do nothing but muddy the waters. You know? It's so fucking pathetic. It's so fucking obvious. Again, when you actually are honest with yourself and honest with what reality shows you, these motherfuckers become obvious. It becomes so obvious, you know? So it's just crazy to see that, you know, people that are stuck, you know, on these channels, that just shows that you've been brainwashed all over again. You went from being brainwashed about the globe to now being brainwashed about flat Earth. You were spot on with renaming Globebusters 10 years ago, City. No, yeah. Constant velocity is the answer. The first motion in the whole chain reaction to motion. All other motion vectors must accelerate towards overcome the constant upward vector. Exactly. And that's why a lot of people like to say, oh, accelerometers only measure acceleration. Well, guess what? A digital accelerometer, like on your cell phone, operates on the same principles of displacement. There's little mechanical parts inside of your cell phone that displace relative to the direction of the force. Those mechanical parts are connected to wires that then send a signal to the phone and create a digital number. But the reason why accelerometers are called accelerometers is because when we use accelerometers here on Earth, in order for an accelerometer to detect a motion other than the vector, it has to be accelerating. So you have to overcome it. The fact is, accelerometers don't need to accelerate to register a force. The fact that they can sit still here on Earth at a constant and they measure a constant force without accelerating shows that accelerometers not only measure acceleration, but they also measure a constant force. And the reason why you have to accelerate it here on Earth is because you have to overcome that upwards vector. Just like a simple accelerometer. In order to displace the water continuously, you need to constantly accelerate to overcome the upwards vector. Why? Because if you stop accelerating, then the upward vector overcomes that other constant motion. And the water displaces again level relative to the vertical, which is the motion of the Earth, which is the greater force. So in order to overcome the greater force, you need constant acceleration. No different than digital accelerometers. So digital accelerometers don't only detect acceleration, they also detect the constant force. By the fact that they can sit on Earth at rest and still detect the constant motion. It doesn't have, because when I actually accelerate in that digital accelerometer up, it registers that acceleration up. In other words, if people are claiming the Earth is accelerating up, a digital accelerometer should detect that. And I did an experiment with a digital accelerometer. When I actually accelerated up, you can see the G-force increase when you actually accelerate it up, when you increase the velocity. If the Earth was accelerating up, guess what? That number should just be going up into infinity. Your digital accelerometer will be reading probably like 1 trillion G-force by now. The fact is, it detects 1 G-force, a constant 1 G-force. It's only when you take it out of that resting state and add more velocity to it, then it registers more. Fact. People can deny it if they want, and again, that's their problem. So yeah, those 2 little conversations I had were good enough, especially since I forgot my other phone. Again, I love showing people the GIFs, especially in slow motion. They just look so sick, especially the new flame one that I did, the flames following the direction of the force. It's like super good. I think that one's really good. The fact that the flame's not being stretched in any direction in free fall, that it requires a force for the flame to be able to push in a particular direction, and that's why the flame elongates. The flame elongating shows you the direction of the force. And again, you can recreate those experiments for yourself. But I think showing the acceleration down and showing how the flame inverts going in a downwards direction, and in free fall it just goes into a sphere, not being pushed in any direction, I think that those are mind-blowing, So showing that to somebody new, I think it's great. And again, you could only show that in slow motion, like how I did it. To be able to actually see what's going on, because obviously when you drop something, it takes a second, for the effect to be there, or for the lack thereof in free fall. But again, when you record that in slow motion, you can see it in 3 to 5 seconds. You can actually see it and watch the replay of it, and really get ingrained in your brain. So yeah, hopefully next time I don't forget it. So exactly, because we're not accelerating, Fred, right? That's why we don't get heavier. Because when you actually accelerate up, your weight will increase. If you accelerate to 10 miles an hour in the first second, your weight's going to increase. Then you accelerate to 20 miles an hour in the second second, your weight's going to increase even more from the first second. If you increase to 30 miles an hour up in the third second, guess what? Your weight's going to increase even more than it did in the second second. It's going to increase the more you accelerate up. Fact. You can recreate that experiment yourself. I don't have the funds to do that, to create some kind of motor that can accelerate up at 10 miles an hour or 5 miles an hour, then 10, then 15, then 20, to show that the weight's going to increase every time you accelerate 5 miles an hour more. But that's a prediction that I'm going to have, that it is going to increase your weight. If you have a motor accelerating something up, right, and if that motor is going at 5 miles an hour, if your weight's going to increase whatever you have on that platform. Then you go to 10 miles an hour in the second second, that weight's gonna increase even more. And if you go to 15 miles an hour in the third second, it's gonna increase even more. If you go to 20 miles an hour in the fourth second, it's gonna increase even more. Anybody claiming that your weight's gonna remain constant by the fifth second, for example, after the first second, you're a fucking idiot. You're gonna need to demonstrate that in a practical fashion like that, like again, showing in the first second increasing 5 miles an hour, then in the second second increasing to 10 miles an hour, and so on, 5 miles an hour every second. You're gonna need to show that your weight is gonna remain constant at that constant acceleration. But guess what's gonna happen? Your weight's gonna constantly increase the more you accelerate, the more you add to the upwards vector. That's a fact. So the fact that there's people fucking claiming that, oh, acceleration gives you constant weight, constant acceleration gives you constant weight, are fucking morons. They're fucking idiots. Literally, anybody claiming that is a fucking idiot. It's a fact. You know, not until you have a proper demonstration of that, showing acceleration again in the first second to 5 miles an hour, second second 10 miles an hour, third second 15 miles an hour, fourth second 20 miles an hour, and your weight remained constant throughout those whole 5 seconds. You know, it could go to 10 seconds if you want. But yeah, if you then you need to demonstrate that in a practical fashion like that. So that's just the fact. Oh, the stream glitched again. What's up, Ryan Johnson? See if anybody missed Mr. Xavier. If the air is also moving up in constant motion with the constant upwards moving Earth, what causes a ball to lose its conservation of momentum so that it loses inertia and decelerates? Well, the fact that everything is moving through a static background medium, that's what's causing the compression of air. So the air is moving up because it's being forced up by the Earth, but the air wants to remain motionless due to inertia. That's why the air is being compressed, because it's being pushed up and it's being slowed down too. It's trying to be slowed down. So you get the compression of air. That same resistance that the air has due to inertia that compresses the air is the same resistance that affects, for example, a ball in free fall, and that's why it starts to decelerate. It's because the effects of inertia, the cause of inertia, you know. So again, everything's moving through some kind of background static medium. So we're all moving through that, and this background medium is trying to keep everything static. But obviously the Earth is able to overcome that and push everything up still. And because there's a resistance, that's why we have weight. And that's why when something's not connected to the Earth, it starts to lose momentum instantly, because again, the air, if it's more dense than the air's not dense enough to keep pushing it up. But if I have a helium balloon, that air is dense enough to overcome its inertia, so it's able to push it up, so it's affected by the force. So a helium balloon follows the direction of the force because it's a chain reaction of a force. Again, something that's more dense in the medium is not able to overcome the inertia aspects of this decelerating, so again, it just decelerates, and the air again can't push it up. So again, it decelerates due to inertia, which is a static background medium. So that's what it is. So the air is not moving at it is moving together because it's being pushed up by the air, by the Earth, I mean. But it's also resisting that motion, and that's why the air compresses. You need two factors to have a compression. If you just have the upwards force but with no resistance, then the air wouldn't compress. Nothing will slow down. Air wouldn't compress, you wouldn't have water pressure, you know, you wouldn't have weight. You know, all of these are effects of two factors, which is upwards push and inertia, which is a resistance to that push. Again, so we're kind of being compressed as well, but obviously, you know, that's our weight. That gives us our weight. Something that's less dense like the air does get compressed and squished, you know, like a sponge, you know. On a motionless flat earth, what causes that compression of the air? What causes air to compress like a sponge on a motionless flat earth? Because you need two factors. You need something pushing up and then something resisting that push in the opposite direction. What are stationary flat earthers going to say? What causes, that's a question for the stationary flat earths. What causes the compression of air here on Earth? Because again, reality shows you need two factors. So I would love to hear their explanation. Mr. Xavier, okay, thank you for the answer. I didn't understand my question. So rising earthers believe in the ether-like medium, fair enough. Yeah, there is a cause to, you could say like an ether-like medium. I would say it's a static medium, background medium. I would say it's more like an electrostatic field that we move through. And yeah, it has to be. Matter cannot move by itself and it cannot slow down by itself. Think about it. Imagine something moving and then it's trying to slow down by itself. Like, how does this slow down by itself? You need something else. It's like when you're being pushed forward. To resist that push, you need to grab to a wall. You need to you need something to grip on to be able to like stop yourself. You know, so you need something to slow down matter. You know, matter just doesn't slow down by itself. Like, you're gonna need little propellers pushing in the opposite direction to slow down. In that case, or little thrusters. If something's moving in one direction to slow down, you're gonna need little thrusters pushing in the opposite direction to slow down. If there wasn't a background medium. Fact is, again, there is a background medium. It's like moving through air or moving through water. That water just simply being there is going to slow you down because of friction. Again, you can say that inertia is friction in a way because we're moving through it, you know, and that's what's causing the resistance. That's what's causing that friction, that resistance, you know. So, yeah. The prime movers here. So where's your demonstration of weight gradient and vector at a constant if you so quick to call others morons? Weight gradient and vector at a constant. Oh, I'm gonna do a video. I just haven't had time. I need to go to like a building that has like 10 floors, and then my experiment is gonna be put a scale, stand on a scale, and obviously I'm gonna weigh, you know, whatever I weigh, and then as the scale accelerates up, obviously in the first second, after the first second, it's gonna remain at a constant to get to the 10th floor. I'm gonna show that the weight's gonna increase, even if it's 1 pound. You're gonna see the weight increase, even if it's slight. But I'm gonna be moving up at a constant, adding to the upwards vector. So, because elevators don't accelerate up to the 10th floor, they accelerate in the beginning. After the first second or 2 seconds after it reaches a constant velocity, they just remain at that constant velocity up until they reach the 10th floor. So I do want to do that experiment like on a pretty tall building with a 10-story elevator. The more floors, the better. I've gone to buildings that have like 20, 30 floors, you know. The only thing is that nobody has to be able to use that elevator, so I can go all the way from the bottom all the way to the top uninterrupted. So that's going to be a little bit challenging. Because people always use the elevators all day, every day. So again, I have to find a place where I'm able to do that experiment. And that experiment will show an increase in weight at a constant velocity. So yeah, I can't wait to do that test. I can't wait. Yeah, once I have that test, it's gonna be pretty good. But again, accelerating earthers are fucking morons. Like Ken is a fucking idiot. He thinks that matter resists. Not only does matter resist its own motion by itself, but it only resists when it's accelerating. So it's intelligent. So if it's like moving at a constant, it doesn't resist. But as soon as it starts accelerating, it resists. So again, it's like matter is conscious and knows when to resist motion. It only resists when it's accelerating. It gets so fucking stupid, man. It's so fucking retarded. Like, it's so fucking retarded. It's like just as retarded as a motionless Earth to claim the Earth is accelerating up. You have to deny that there's a factor, a background medium that decelerates matter. You have to deny that. But you also have to invoke that matter only resists acceleration, and it intelligently knows when it's being accelerated, so it can push back somehow. Some invisible propellers pushing the other way to slow it, to go against the force. Only when it's accelerating, because it's not a background medium. Apparently matter is able to resist motion by itself, because you have to deny that there's a background medium for all these accelerating earthers. So again, you have to believe that there's some invisible thrusters in matter that only activate when they're accelerating. And these people also claim that you get a constant resistance from accelerating. In other words, these thrusters kind of are calibrated to only push back just enough when it's accelerating to give you a constant resistance. So it's like so fucking retarded. It's fucking retarded. It hurts my brain just to think about it. Like, but yeah, that's what these morons fucking claim. Literally, that's what these morons fucking claim. Oh, but when it's a constant motion, those thrusters turn off and there's no resistance. You know. It's so fucking stupid and retarded. It's crazy. So now we're going into invisible thrusters that decelerate matter. That are in matter. Little, molecular level little thrusters that matter has that only activate when they're accelerating. And when it's a constant motion, they turn off. So there's no resistance anymore. It only resists, they only turn on when you start accelerating. When you start accelerating, then the little thrusters turn on and they resist the motion, like going against, like, it's so fucking retarded, man. It fucking hurts my brain. Yeah, you're a prime mover, you're a fucking idiot, you're a fucking moron, you just muddy the waters, and yeah, I would say you're not welcome here. So you could kick rocks. Please do us all a favor and just kick rocks. Unless you have a practical demonstration of your claims, then you're not welcome with those fucking stupid ass claims. At the end of the day, do what you want. This is an open platform. Unless you're like heavily trolling, then I'll ban you. But at the end of the day, do whatever you want. You can stick around and maybe learn something. Or if you have practical demonstrations of your ridiculous claims, demonstrate them. Plasma jets. Oh my god. These people are fucking retards. They don't even realize what the fuck they're claiming. They're fucking retards. Not only that, like, oh my god, it's just so retarded. They have to claim that also when you're holding something. When you're holding something, the little jets are pushing back, right? But then when you release it into free fall, it's not being accelerated up anymore. So those little jets turn off anymore, and that's why it doesn't decelerate. The Earth's acceleration just catches up to it, because the little thrusters they turn off when you release it into free fall. And only when you're holding it, the little thrusters turn back on again and gives you that resistance. Again, they have to deny that it's a background medium doing all this. So they have to invoke these little fucking ideas that what's making matter slow down then. In their mind, it doesn't slow down. It just moves at a constant forever, like the globe Earth. No different than the globe Earth. Stationary flat earthers, accelerating earthers are no different than the globe Earth. They use the same explanations. They borrow the same rhetoric. And again, they only expose themselves for being complete fucking morons. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and call it. Yeah, I'm glad I got those two little conversations, better than nothing, like I always say. So, hopefully next time it goes a little better. But yeah, that's gonna be for this one. Yeah, thanks again for everybody that shows up, everybody that watches the videos, anybody that likes them, that shares them, appreciate that. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.